So hello everyone. So let's come welcome back to the Web Technology Lab. So in this particular lab, for in this video session, I'll be talking about certain concepts related to web, along with terminologies, tags, elements, and so forth in the video sessions. Along with this discussion, I shall be briefing about how do we use editors to perform the programming, as well as some sample programs will be listed here in this presentation for your reference. So in this presentation, I shall be discussing certain technologies that will be used in this lab sessions, along with briefing about the templates. So before discussing about the terminologies as well as certain templates that we are using in this programming lab session, first of all, let's see what is web. Okay, so when we talk about web, you know internet, right? Internet is nothing but a collection of computers and devices that will be connected, that will allow us to communicate with each of the computers. So there will be certain set of computers and devices which are connected by equipment, and wherein the communication happens. So this is nothing but your internet. But what is web? Web is nothing but a collection of software and protocols that has been installed on most of the computers. So I repeat, web is a collection of software and protocols that has been installed on most of the computers. So this using this web, so we'll see certain terms like, for example, in this you can see www, right? So what is this www, and what is meant by client? So we'll see all these things in the discussion. So first of all, whenever any two parties have to communicate, there will be two parties name known as a web client and a web server. Okay, whenever two computers they communicate over the internet, one of them will be a client and one of them will be a server. So it is the client who initiates the communication, which is often the request that will be found in the servers. So what happens is, there is a document that will be provided by the server will be initiated by a component called as browser. Okay, browser will be within the client, and client will request any document from the browser, and to whom it will be communicating is to the web server. So, in short terms, browser is a client on the web and it initiates the communication with the server. So, something like this, there will be a browser within the client, and the communication happens with the help of a protocol. So, most commonly used protocol is Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTP. So, there are certain blocks within this HTTP protocol. So, whenever the server locates the document, it will send that particular document to the browser, and wherein the client will receive that particular document. Okay, this is all about some components that happen during the communication. There will be a client and there will be a server who communicate with each other. And while the communication happens, with the help of a protocol, right? This protocol itself contains a URL, that is the location of the document wherein the server has to search. Clear? So many protocols are there like HTTP, FTP, Telnet, File. Among these, HTTP is the most commonly used protocol. So let's see how does internet differentiate from World Wide Web. So internet it it is nothing but a collection of computers which are connected by equipment in such a way that these devices communicate with each other. But how do these devices communicate is with the help of TCP or IP protocol. So internet is just forms the foundation for the web to function. So in order to connect to internet, we need a network interface card, and internet is made up of a massive network of specialized computers called routers. So with the help of these routers, the information exchange happens between different computers, and they use a protocol called TCP or IP protocol in order to communicate. Whereas in World Wide Web, it's the communication happens with the help of HTTP protocol, but there is the way in which the content has to be delivered is in HTML format. That is client and if we have got two parties, let's say client and server, these two parties will be communicating over the web in using the HTTP protocol, but the format that the information exchange happens is using HTML documents. So that's the difference between internet and World Wide Web. In internet, again, it is a massive interconnection of computer networks around the world, whereas World Wide Web is nothing but the service that is provided by the internet. Service in the sense, if you want a particular web page or if you want to buy some products, so how do we do that? Just with the internet, it's not possible. With the World Wide Web, we have a link from one page to another page. So, for example, if I purchase this product, I can next step is to perform the net banking or payment issues. So, let's say I've ordered a particular item, but next step is to see that the payment is over. It's like there should be a connection from the order page to or the procuring page to the payment page. So there's a link from one page to another page, and that covers your World Wide Web. Just with internet, it's not possible, but with World Wide Web, this world era is in. So next, coming to the third point is we use Internet uses TCP/IP protocol for communication, whereas World Wide Web uses HTTP protocol for communication. So these are the basic differences between Internet and World Wide Web. So let's see the key layers of Internet. First of all, clients will be using computers to deliver the documents or to request for documents from a particular server. But how does this communication happens? Through the computers, individual or personal computers, the document is being transferred over the network, and in the network resides a document in the fly. Then the document has to be served by the internet through the protocols, right? So different computers will be connected, and these computers are linked with the help of internet, and then this document whichever resides in the particular computer will be transferred over to the internet, right? Say for example, I request a page called www.google.com. So this request is been sent over the network. With the help of networks, it is sent through the internet. So okay, like networks uses internet, that is a kind of protocol, TCP or IP, and then in the this internet makes use of World Wide Web. That is, it will search globally for different pages where different it will search different servers to where the document has been found, uh, and that's nothing but your World Wide Web. Your World Wide Web is nothing but a link between different web pages containing dynamic contents. So whenever that page is requested, say for example www.google.com, that is searched over the internet, and it is requested by the search engine with the help of browsers, and that content is delivered. So this picture makes sense. That is, through the computer, that particular request is being sent over the internet, and then with the help of search engine and using browsers, that content is been fetched from the respective server is searching from the servers, different servers, and whichever server has found the request, it will return back through the internet, and the client will obtain that particular web page, that is google.com. So these are the different layers of internet. You can observe how the communication happens with these layers of internet. So now let's see, why do we need internet, or why do we need www? As I've told in the previous slide, I've mentioned about what is www, which is nothing but a collection of pages of information, and each of these pages contain text, audio, video, hyperlink, and so on. So www, which covers World Wide Web. Why do we need this actually? So any information that we need to collect is that we get is nothing but a link of the pages. That is, these pages are accessed with the help of internet, right? So whenever we want any document from a laptop, let's say I have a document from the laptop, and I need the same document in my college system. How do I get it? Basically, without internet, it's not possible. It's highly possible for me to get the document into my college system. So, exception is if I have a pen drive, I'll just copy that document in my pen drive and then use it in my college system. So, for example, let's assume I do not have any pen drive. I just have the document in the laptop. Without the external hard disk or hard drive, is it possible for me to get the document in my college system? No, without internet, it's highly not possible. So, and similarly, if I've got if the second point is regarding access information. So if I upload the document into the cloud, it is similar to saying that my document is visible everywhere. In a sense, I can access the information overall, right? So I if I have the document here, no problem. I can since I've already uploaded the document to the cloud, I can get the same document anywhere. So third point is regarding shopping. So in terms of buying or purchasing products, as well as writing reviews, or in terms of software, so when we go into the era of shopping, this www plays a major role. Similarly, in the fourth point, that is regarding business. So in business area, people will be creating websites, right? So people create websites, and this website makes use of internet. Therefore, without internet, a business would become a big loss. And lastly, it is regarding the mail, and we use mail in our daily lives, and for to access any mail, we make use of internet, right? So these are the main advantages or main applications that we can that will use internet. And what are the drawbacks? See, so whenever we have got advantages, we have drawbacks too. So for example, the drawbacks of internet or www may be a virus issue, or it may be a spam issue. Whenever a person has sent a mail, it may be in the junk folder or spam folder, and so on. And similarly, there may be privacy issues, or hacking of information, hacking of passwords, login credentials. So all these things are the drawbacks of internet. So next, coming to toolbox. So in this toolbox, let's list out what are the technologies that will be used. So first, HTML. And this is a hypertext markup language, and this is also a client side programming language. So where we have to design certain web pages. So this is also a leading technology to develop web pages. So first we have got HTML, and then more after this we'll be having another toolbox, that is XML, which is a meta markup language. Okay, these two are client side languages, HTML and XML. And next we have got JavaScript. The JavaScript is most often a client side language, and it can be used for both client side as well as server side. And next we have got PHP and Ruby, which are server side languages, and Flash along with Ajax. Ajax is a technology that uses JavaScript as well as XML. Okay, so in this presentations we'll see terminologies related to HTML, certain elements that are being used in this scripting language, along with the sample programs. So before starting with the HTML, in the previous slide I have given you toolbox. So which are the toolbox that the programmer can use to design web pages. So we have seen in the previous slide toolboxes like HTML, XML, PHP, Ruby, Ajax, and so on, right? So among these, HTML is a scripting language. It is not a markup. It is not a programming language. Okay. So it is a scripting language and not a programming language. It is a markup language. So hypertext markup language. So this defines HTML. So markup language means that it is used to mark certain parts of the documents in order to indicate how they should appear on a screen. So this HTML was defined by Tim Berners-Lee in 1991. So this HTML, when we compare it with other toolboxes like XML, HTML purpose is to describe just the general form and layout of the documents to be displayed by the browser. HTML describes the overall layout and gives some presentation hints. Whereas when we see XML, XML is nothing but it describes data and its meaning through the individualized tags and attributes. So in each of the toolboxes we see certain elements within the language. So in XML one can define her own tags and attributes, whereas HTML has got predefined tags and attributes. And HTML's purpose is to describe the layout and form of the documents. Whereas when we compare other toolboxes, why do we have to use other toolboxes and what are their goals? So in JavaScript, we have used the term JavaScript in our toolbox. JavaScript it can be embedded in HTML documents and downloaded from the web server. But JavaScript's goal is to validate form data. So when we see other technologies like PHP, PHP is server side. It can also be embedded in HTML documents. And this PHP code is pre-processed to interpret it is actually pre-processed, and its output will be available into the HTML document. So a requested document which includes PHP code is pre-processed in order to interpret the PHP code, and it will insert its output in the HTML document, but the browser does not see this embedded PHP code. Moreover, it allows simple access to HTML form data. So PHP is quite simple to use among the toolboxes, It provides support for various database management systems. I've talked about the PHP, JavaScript, HTML, and XML. We are using all these technologies in our lab sessions. So we are not using any form of Ajax or Ruby over here in this laboratory sessions. That's why I'm briefing about the toolboxes which are using in the lab sessions. Mainly, we are using HTML, XML, then JavaScript, okay, which we can use to validate form data, that is dynamically. Next, we are using some form of PHP in our lab sessions. So where in PHP allows simple access to HTML form data. So form processing will be easier in PHP. Clear? So once again, coming back to HTML, as I've told you, HTML is not a programming language, it is a scripting language wherein it will mark certain portions of the document. Clear? So it has got two parts. Basically, you can break this HTML into two parts. One is hypertext, which defines the link between the pages, a link to link between certain web pages. Along with that, we have got markup language. Markup means it marks or names it by certain tags. So individual section will be marked separately with the help of tags. So this gives the versions of HTML over the years. So we have got in 1991. This was defined in 1991 by Tim Berners, and the version which was defined in 1991 was HTML1, and so on with HTML5. Slide we'll see why do we need actually HTML. So HTML is nothing but, as you know, it's a markup language. It's basically scripting language, and it's very easy to mark certain parts of the documents as to what actually each line represents, whether this line represents a heading or whether this line represents a paragraph. So it's easier to mark portions of the documents using HTML. Next point is browsers. HTML supports various browsers, and this HTML could be run by various browsers, and also it is platform independent and easy to learn and use. So whenever we want to design a particular web page, first we start with the understanding the concept of HTML. That is, basically we need to know how the blueprint of that web page lies, right? So blueprint is nothing but sketch or structure of the web page. So how could we learn the structure of the web page? It is through HTML only. So first we start with learning of the HTML, and then moving on to XML, and then then going on to other toolboxes in order to provide a dynamic look and feel of the web page. Next, last, it can be integrated into various toolboxes. That is, HTML can be integrated with CSS as well as JavaScript, and even in a PHP, PHP code can be embedded in HTML. So all the this is the reason as to why we have to learn HTML first before developing a web page. Next, moving on to HTML units. So which are the basic HTML units? So first of all, the basic text, or the entire text, will be organized into paragraphs within the document, right? So there will be certain paragraphs within the document, and this text is often placed in the content of the paragraph. So there will be certain portions to mark certain sections of the document, and these are called as tags. Clear? So tags are used to, they are basic syntactic units which mark certain portions of the document, and these tags appear in pairs. That is, we have a opening tag and a closing tag. So tags are used to specify the categories of the content. So the syntax of the tag is just surrounded by angle brackets. We denote the tags by angle brackets, lesser sign and the greater sign. So they must be written in all lowercase letters. Here there is a standard format of writing the tags in HTML. So next, in the third point, we see that an element, an HTML element is nothing but the container. So what is a container is, it has got a opening tag and a closing tag. So opening tag and a closing tag, they together specify a container. So the opening tag, the closing tag along with the content is called as an element. And we can also have certain comments within the document. So comments, they increase the readability of the program. So basically the browser ignores these HTML comments. Let's see the symbolical way of representing these comments. We denote these comments by exclamation mark, and we have the first line within the HTML structure, that is doc type command, which specifies a particular DDT, that is document type definition, which tells us which document it complies to, whether it is a HTML, whether it's an XML. So it defines the type of the document that you are writing. That is, it may be HTML. If it is HTML, it is given as it is of doc type HTML. Clear? This is a comment. Basically, this is a declaration which is given at the top of the HTML document, and this can be defined only once. So there are several tags within the HTML document. So basically I've got 4 tags. The first tag is a HTML tag which defines the root element of the document. And next we have got head. So head tag, it always starts after the HTML tag. Okay, this head element provides the information about the document, just the document, or what kind of document it is. Okay, and next, head element, it always contains 2 simple elements, that is the title as well as meta. So for example, the document should have a title called HTML. So in that so we need to provide the an elements called title. Okay, so within the head tag we need to specify another element called title if we want to have a name for that particular document. So this head element or the head tag, it specifies the information, it gives certain information about the document. Here, so this head tag will have title element as well as meta element. Okay, the title element specifies the title of the document, whereas meta element provides some additional information about the document, like your encoding and all. So after this, we have another tag called as body tag, which describes the body or last but one section of the HTML structure, or it defines the content of the document. So whatever should be placed within the paragraph, whatever document should appear in the web page will be given within this body tag. So body tag will provide the, it actually provides the content of the document. So there are 4 tags. The first one starts with the HTML tag followed by close of that HTML tag. Then we have got head tag. So it describes some information about the document. Within the head tag you may have title element as well as meta element, some more information about the document. And then we have the body tag, which gives information about the content of the document. So a particular HTML document will be in this form. So first of all, it will have the DDT definition. Next, we see certain tags. First is HTML tag. Next is the head tag, and within the head we can have title element. So this particular program will have the title called page title. So this defines the title of the document, page title. Next, after head we have got the body section. That is, the basically if you want in the web page, if you want the output in the web page as my first heading in one line, that is, if you want a heading along with the paragraph followed by it, we need to specify it using certain tags. So to represent a particular statement as a heading, you need to use h1 tag or h2 tag or h3 tag. So there are several heading tags. I'll be telling you in the coming video sessions. So we'll have several heading tags h1, h2, h3, h4, 5, 6. So h1 represents the highest the heading or heading with the larger font. H2 will represent the heading with the smaller font. So if I want a bigger font, if I want a statement with a bigger font to be represented as a heading, I'll be writing it in this manner, that is h1 and whatever content you want as a heading followed by close of that heading tag, that is slash h1. Next I want a paragraph, so I'll be representing that statement with the help of a p tag. So p stands for paragraph, so you'll have a p tag followed by what statement has to be represented as a paragraph, and then we have the close of that paragraph tag. So these two statements will be displayed as an output in the web page. So whatever statements we want to be displayed as an output is represented within the body tag. So you can observe there is a body tag at the beginning of the heading h1, and then which closes off after the paragraph p, that is slash body. So any close of the tag is represented by slash of that particular tag name. Next, followed by close of the HTML section. So this defines an entire HTML document. So now, how do we execute the HTML code? So basically, we write what will be the structure of the program in the form of a notepad. So we open a notepad, write the HTML structure in the HTML format, and then save it as a .html in the desired folder. And once we save it as a .html, by double click of that particular document will open the document in the browsers, in the respective browsers, and the result pertaining to the program will be displayed in the browser. So you are going to open a notepad, write the HTML code, and if it is a HTML code, then you save it as .html in certain folders or certain location, and then you locate that location where the document is being saved and open it in a browser, wherein you will view the result as per the program. So this is how you execute any HTML code. Because I am talking about HTML, I'll be saying you about HTML code. Likewise, whenever you run XML, I'll be briefing about that too. So now let's see how to run some sample programs. I'll be giving you a particular program. Let's say if we want to display 3 headings in the web page. So one is a larger heading, a smaller heading, and a next smaller heading. So basically you have got doc type first, next HTML, then you have body, then next you have to use 3 headings or 4, 5 headings. You can use any number of headings. Okay. So if I want to display just 3 headings, I'll be using heading h1, heading h2, and heading h3. In case if I want to display 6 headings with the less decreasing font, I'll be using heading h1, h2, h3, h4, h5, h6, and these all should be written within the body section, because I want the content should be displayed in the browser. So whatever content that has to be displayed in the browser will be within the body tag. So close the respective body tag along with the HTML tag. So you will see so basically we open the notepad, write all these HTML structure, next save it as .html file, something like this. It's better to give an appropriate program based file name, okay, and save it by extension .html, and see that the encoding is UTF-8, so which is the standard encoding format. Next, so you see that 6 different headings are displayed as per the program. So first heading will be the larger heading which uses h1 tag, second heading is h2 tag, and third heading is h3 tag, and so on. So 6 different headings are displayed in the web page. So here let's look at the sample HTML script. So this represents a heading tag. So I'm going to write certain code in order to say it is a heading tag. So let's say in the browser, in the web page, we want some headings, some different kinds of headings or different levels of headings that gives different level of importance. And also I need a paragraph within the web page. So how do I write this as a HTML script? So first of all, I may include this tag, or I may include the doc type version which says it is of HTML version 5. Okay. After the HTML tag, see, I will just close the corresponding tags respectively. I will close whatever tags has been opened. So whenever you say this, this is a container HTML tag, the close of the HTML tag. So this entire thing, anything represented within this, represents it's a web page. So after the HTML tag, I can have a head tag just to have a title or content that has to be displayed in the browser. So to have a content at the top of the browser page, so what will I do is I will include the title tag and I will represent the content. So let's say I want to say this demonstrates different levels of heading. So I will include this content in the title tag and I will close the corresponding title tag along with the head tag. So here, as we know, there are 6 levels of heading: H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, and all of them are in decreasing font. So whenever browser finds the respective tags corresponding to the heading, it will automatically make the font as bold and insert a new line after the heading. So instead I'll just use 2 levels of heading to just show the difference. So let me say this is heading 1, heading level 1, and this is heading level 2. So if I want this content to be displayed in the browser, first of all I will have to save this file. So let me save this file as heading. Okay, let me save this file as heading.html. So it is saved automatically. If you want, you can save it as a different file. Let me say I want to save it as heading 1.html. Okay. So then I need to locate the location of that particular heading 1. So for example, it is found here, right? So then I need to open it in a browser. So we execute within a browser page. You can observe that the heading levels are varied, right? So you can observe this thing, that is This is heading level 1 and this is heading level 2. The font size varies, right? So this is the code that demonstrates different levels of heading. I've already explained the heading concepts or heading tag in the presentations. This is just a demonstration of the HTML code corresponding to heading tag.